Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you follow my monthly and yearly readings, tarot readings. Well, I'm doing a new edition of my little tarot corner, which I was doing in Instagram live, and now I'm doing here as well. So yeah, if you like, please feel free to like and subscribe. It's very much appreciated. But today I'm about to talk about the card. We're still in the Major Arcana, and I'm going with the Hierophant, also called the Pope. And this card is number 5. So if you would like to see the ones before, you can check my link on the Instagram account. It's in the description of this video, and you can follow all the other previous videos, okay? So, just looking here at my notes, and there's quite a few things to say. I don't want to repeat myself from my previous videos, but with the Hierophant, how does it connect to the previous card in tarot, which is the Emperor? So the Emperor was a very material sort of energy, very much power, a ruler, a fair ruler, and a very mature ruler, but still very much power, not so much spiritual here. With the Hierophant, we go back into the spiritual, because the Hierophant is a bit of a bridge. I like to think of this card like that. It's a sort of integrating the spiritual heaven with the more earthly part of life. And it does have, you will ask, why is it called Hierophant? Why is it called a Pope? Such a religious sort of reference. But the tarot deck in general is influenced by so many cultures and so many beliefs. It has a lot of Christianism in there, has a lot of Orthodox as well, of the religion there. It has a lot of paganism. It has also quite a bit of Kabbalah meanings there that people have found, even Egyptian sort of symbols, everything. It's a mix, okay? So you have to kind of understand that it's a mix of the cultures that influenced it and the times as well that influenced it. But yeah, in this case, a sort of a more religious figure, because it is a kind of authority figure like the Emperor, but it does bring two different worlds, if you want, together. So sort of a bridge between the divine and earth. Is also number 5. What does that mean? If you're interested into numerology, I have to say I'm just a beginner at that area of study, but it's extremely attractive to me. And since it's number 5 is sort of the indivisible one, which makes sense because this is a card that integrates, right? So unity is not division, is the word here. So I'm gonna show you, actually didn't have it here at hand, but while I talk to you, I will show you the card. So I am using, I've said it before, sort of, I'm using, actually, let me show you, Radiant Wise Spirit Tarot. Oh, it's the right one. Oh, lucky me, because I hadn't selected it. And this is the card. So this is more of the Rider-Waite sort of influence deck. For me, for someone that is beginning, it's for sure the best sort of deck you can get, because it has so much symbology, will help you to learn. I learned with also with the Marseille deck, but that's, it just happened. But I do feel more inclined for this one, especially if I am, teaching or want the other person to understand what I'm saying a bit better. But yeah, so the Hierophant has a lot of symbolisms in the card, like all the others before that I spoke about. You have, let me show you. You see that huge crown there? So it's the papal crown. It does have this sort of Vatican, right, Pope energy to it. And it has 3 layers. It's actually a multi-layered crown, which stand for Holy Trinity, of course. And it has other symbols like the staff. It's a very religious symbol as well. 3 crosses as well in there. Holy Trinity again, and he also has a few crosses. I can see that in his robe. You see here in the white part in the middle, right? A lot of influences here. Even on his shoes, I'm seeing now he has little crosses which I never noticed. I'm always finding new things in these cards. Another symbol which I find interesting is this, you see here at the bottom, these two keys crossed. So this, if you're more into, if you're Catholic or you've had some knowledge of it, or Christianism, I guess, it is the golden keys that represent the kingdom of heaven that were given by Jesus to St. Paul. St. Peter, by Jesus. And so it's another kind of reference. He holds the keys to heaven, and yet his function is on earth, is with men, with humans. So I find it quite an interesting thing. He has quite a serious face, I have to say, but I avoid seeing him so much as a very serious figure. But it does have authority, he does have power in him. The red cloak and the red sort of robes is something we've seen before with other cards. And in tarot, it kind of tends to represent action, energy, just like in the Emperor card that was just the one before, number 4. So what else? He has little, little references here. You see these two people, they call him the supplicants here, kind of kneeling before him, and he's like standing in a superior position. They have like roses and flowers, roses and lilies actually. Yeah, one has roses, the other has lilies in their robes. That's also a symbol that has been appeared before in other cards, and that has to do with love, of course, the rose, and purity with the lily. Okay, so he does, and also the white sort of in the red has that sort of meaning as well. Now, if you are, so definitely a very strong sort of sacred, religious background going on here with symbology. If you are, and if you are interested as well in astrology, which has a connection with tarot, some people like to associate both. I kind of have to confess I don't, but that's because I don't know much about astrology, and I'm sure there are definitely things that kind of cross over. And the Hierophant is ruled by the planet Venus, and so the sign, astrological sign that kind of is also associated here with this card would be Taurus. Element is definitely earth, although like I said, it does have this connection between heaven and earth. And if we go more into the energy field, so I am a Reiki master, so I do like to mention that the chakra, yes, it is more the third eye located here, chakra, so the 6th chakra, for the spiritual connection that he has, for being that sort of, he has this intuition, he has this vision of, let's say, the other side that we don't. He's that connection with that world. The message in general, when I see this card in any reading, it has to do with the unity, with a link between these two worlds. And that can come off as, in many situations, really, to be quite honest. And I'm already jumping to some of the sections I have here before. But it can be, for example, let's say the person has a question about love, romance, and so on. Well, why would the Hierophant appear here? Well, marriage is one of them. So marriage, it is both a civil, in many places at least, a civil sort of contract, if you want, but it's also a religious union, right? It has a religion for the rest of your life, and so on and so on. And some people like to do both, obviously the civil wedding, but also the church one. So it does have, he's the one, the Hierophant is in between. He's kind of consecrating that ceremony, that union. Okay, it can be, if it's not a marriage, it is definitely a serious commitment. Okay, it doesn't have to be, oh yes, it is a wedding for sure. It can be just a more serious commitment of those two people. Yeah, if it's, for example, a person, which it can actually stand for a person, then it would be someone to you that is a sort of a mentor, a teacher even, because the Pope is actually very related as well with academics, with studying. Why? Because, knowledge is the door to sort of a higher level of understanding, right? So he's there between. So I also can say, well, it's a teacher, someone like that, maybe your spiritual kind of mentor or someone that helps you, that you go to for advice, you recognize as someone that gives you good advice. Definitely an authority and a leader, that's for sure. Now, in a general situation, it can also mean the rules of society. So not like justice, which is another card in tarot, not so much legal, but the rules you have to abide, right? In this, you may be a super spiritual person, but you still have to abide by the laws where you live. So it's society, it's tradition, it's the institutional thing. So it can be, for example, in a business environment situation, it can be that you need to, for example, hire someone to mediate a situation, maybe a lawyer even, or maybe it can be a specialist that brings some sort of perspective that's needed for a business, for whatever enterprise you have. A consultant, for example, can be someone like that. Also stands for hierarchy. Okay, so again, rules of society, hierarchy, what are the functions in society, and in that aspect, it normally has a positive vibe to it, but it can have a negative one, in the sense that it can stand for strict rules, sort of a tradition that's sort of suffocating for you. So you have to be a bit careful there, and we have to see the full context of the reading to see how does the Hierophant kind of what is the role here? Is it a positive influence? Is it a more strict influence? That sort of thing. Like I said, at work, yeah, it could be a sort of a consultant figure. It can be someone you feel very close as a mentor that teaches you, a leader. But it also can stand for you going up in the hierarchy, in a higher position at work. So that's pretty good. As an advice, it has, like I said, this sort of positive and negative side. So I always say, depending on the reading, of course, the context I see there, it can be that this person is maybe too spiritual and needs to be a bit more grounded, or the other way around. Maybe someone so connected to the material world that is choosing to ignore their more spiritual side. So it has to be a balance. So that can be something in a reading you can see with this card. Also, warning against maybe you're being a bit too passive in terms of conventions, of tradition, hierarchy. Maybe you need to challenge that a bit in your life to get the result you want. Or maybe the other way around. For example, I could see the Hierophant together with the Devil card could definitely be someone that just doesn't play by the rules. And sometimes that has its consequences sooner or later. So it's a bit that you have to accept with one thing, there will be a consequence. And the Hierophant does stand for those rules, for the society, for this is the spiritual world, this is the material world, and this is how they kind of connect through him. So that's about it. The Hierophant is I think in my opinion, a very straightforward, I would say, card for me. When I see it, it's a bit neutral, more positive. It definitely is not a negative card, but it does depend a lot on the cards that are around it to get the full meaning of it, okay? So if you have obviously a student, can be that academics, something, maybe they are getting the diploma, the certification that allows them to have a certain role in society, it allows them to kind of access a different position in the world, you know what I mean? So it could be definitely that. There's quite a few interpretations. It is an important card in the sense that it is a major arcana. So especially if it's like a wedding or a marriage thing, is very impactful in your life. But otherwise, it's, I think, a card that's very easy to learn and to kind of memorize if you want in the beginning when you're studying tarot. So doesn't have that, even with the symbology, it doesn't have as many symbols as some of the cards I spoke of in previous Tarot Corner lives. So yeah, it's, I think, more straightforward, more accessible if you want even. Okay, so yeah, that was the little Tarot Corner for today, a short one. And the next one will be one of the probably favorite cards of everyone. Probably the number one topic I get in tarot readings is love. And the next one is number 6, the lovers. So that's going to be a very interesting one because it doesn't always have to do with love. So I will talk about that when the time comes, hopefully next week. I will post a video as soon as I can. Meanwhile, if you like this video, make sure as well that you check my other videos. I just started posting for October tarot readings for all the signs. Okay, I think I have like 2 already posted, and I completed the yearly tarot forecast, which starts now in October and goes 12 months until September 2021. So that's a good one, and I think it was a very interesting reading for me as well. And check my Instagram for the previous lives I did on the cards. There's quite a few interesting cards, major arcana there, that if you are really interested in tarot, you should give it a quick look. And if you are, of course, my videos, I always say that for the tarot reading, they are general readings based on the sign of that person's zodiac sign. It's very different from a one-to-one personalized reading. So if you are interested in one, I have all the details in the description of the video and in my profile of the channel, okay? So you're free to take a look. So for now, that's it. I'm wishing you much love and light. Thank you.